It's Friday. That means another week has gone by. Now I want to propose for you guys a little thought experiment. Think about what you've done for the past week. Now imagine that you got stuck into a 10-year trap. Imagine that week that you just lived, you had to live it over and over and over again for the next 10 years. What type of person would the last week of your life produce? What type of person would it produce with respect to the 8 pillars of wellness? Those are physical, nutritional, emotional, social, spiritual, intellectual, financial, and environmental. Would this person become financially rich or financially poor? Would this person become spiritually rich or spiritually poor? Would this person be in shape and healthy, or would this person be out of shape and slovenly? Would this person be surrounded by strong friends with good habits that bring them up, or toxic friends with bad habits that bring them down? Would this person be learned or ignorant? Would this person be living a virtuous life, or would they be gripped by vice? What would 520 weeks of the habits you chose this last week produce? Now I love this thought experiment because it raises the question, what are you doing? And you are not your body. You are not the body chemicals that your body produces. You are not your desires. What you are is something higher than that. What is your higher self doing? One of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts, once said, "An accurate language should not contain any nouns, but only verbs, because the world around us and the world within us is not static. It's a doing. It's a happening. It's what we do. It's not what we are." At any given point in your life, you've been many things, but that's not who you were becoming. At one point in your life, you were probably 1 foot tall, but that's not who you are now, I don't think. The way that we describe things are, I am anxious, when we should say, I'm doing anxiety. You have to physically do anxiety. You have to just curl up and you have to feel it. You have to be in that moment and you have to say those words. Sometimes people tell me that they're unconfident, and I'll tell them, no, you're not. You're just doing fear. The pattern of behavior that you're displaying is one of fear. Even the way that we describe our physical bodies, we'll say that I am out of shape. No, you're just doing out of shape. Instead of saying something like I am out of shape, you should say something like I'm doing out of shape. Instead of saying something like I am unhappy, you should say I'm doing unhappy. The reason why that connection is so important is just because when you connect the actions to the emotional state or the state of being, then you can take ownership of your life. And once you take that level of ownership and make that connection between what you do and how you feel and what you achieve, you can realize that everything that I feel and achieve stems from everything that I do. Everything that I do stems from my habits. All of my habits stem from everything that I think. Everything that I think stems from the thought seeds that I plant in my mind. And once you get down to that very lowest level, the thought seeds that you plant in your mind, you can start to really make some change in your life through reading, through mentorship, through educating yourself in general, and through the practice of daily affirmations, positively affirming that you will make it and that you will feel better and that you are better right now. Now, part 2 of this video, I like to call it my rule of 58, and it determines how successful you're going to be in life. So what is meant by the rule of 58? The rule of 58. During the work week, we spend 8 hours working and we are supposed to spend 8 hours sleeping. Of the remaining 8 hours, we spend about 2 hours commuting, maintaining our bodies, cooking, eating, cleaning house, using the bathroom, etc. So that leaves you 6 hours per work day, or in other words, you've got 30 hours per work week to improve yourself, 30 hours per work week to uplift yourself, to get yourself to that next level in life, to chase after that dream that you want to chase in life. On the weekends, you've got 24 hours, going to spend about 8 hours of those sleeping. And let's say that you take about 2 hours to just maintain, cooking, cleaning, eating, getting ready for the next week. So we'll just call it 10 hours a day that are just gone. So that leaves 14 hours per day. So that's 28 hours on the weekend. So you got 30, 28, so you've got 58 hours a week to improve yourself. What you do with those 58 hours is vitally important. Most people are not outliers. Most people's success is not meteoric and it does not happen overnight. Most people's success could be most readily described as a marathon. So imagine a marathon where the gun goes off and then not everyone starts running. In fact, most people don't start running. Most people stay at the starting line, they enjoy the starting line, they sip cocktails, and they never reach the finish line. They've heard about the finish line, they've heard it's great over there, but they do not ever reach the finish line because they don't ever start running towards the finish line. Those 58 hours, that is your time to run towards that finish line. That is your time to run towards those dreams. That is your time to achieve those goals. Then after 40 years of sitting at the starting line of the marathon, a lot of the people at the starting line cry out against the people who ran the race. Some people ran it fast, some people ran it slow, but most people just didn't run at all. The people who stayed at the starting line become needy. They become dependent on their children. They become a burden to themselves and to their families. They complain that the people who were running for the past 40 years were privileged, or they got lucky, or they got a lucky break, or they knew somebody, when in reality, they just didn't have a plan. They stayed at the starting line, and they didn't get it done. So just to recap, the first step is you need to know that there is a race to be run. In other words, you need to have a plan on how you're going to get to the finish line, and you need to know where the finish line is. The second step is you must believe that you can run it. You're not going to run in a race that you don't believe that you can finish. The third step, which is what holds most people back, is that you must start to run it. You must run in the race. When you start to run in the race, you realize that you look around and you notice that there aren't a lot of competitors. Once you're running in the race, you realize that it's very hard to win the race, but it's really not that hard to finish the race. It's not hard to be in the top 10%. It's not hard to be in the top 5%. And that's just because once you start running, you realize that most people never even started running. Most people never even mapped their way to the finish line. And at the end of the day, you don't need to win the race. You don't need to be a Jeff Bezos to achieve the happiness that you seek. You and you alone are the one who determines what a life worth living looks like to you. So I want to leave you guys with one last thought, and that is to remain optimistic and open to opportunity. Not optimistic about what is going to happen around you, but optimistic about what you can do to thrive despite it. If the world really is falling apart, and it really might be, things don't look great, you don't have to. You don't have to fall apart. This downturn that is happening, it's not going to affect everyone the same way. We've got plenty of videos about how to insulate yourself from this downturn, how to utilize those 58 hours to make sure that you are not going to be the one who's in a bad way. Just because 30% of people are unemployed, just because 30% of people are in a bad way, most people, like I said earlier, are not even running. So with that said, love you guys for all being here to the end of the video. Thank you for all the likes, all the subscriptions, all the comments. Thank you for all the shares. You guys have been spreading my videos like wildfire, and hopefully you guys enjoy this content, this style. Stay strong out there, and I'll see you guys in the next video.